All right, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see if we got BSS for either of these two Google searches. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pin post, home post on the video, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if a boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably most likely bringing in piece from the entire intent spectrum, whoever on the left, highest intent, whoever on the right, lowest intent. But if a boudoir photography business is falling, they're missing at least one or one cohort, or at least probably two cohorts as well from this intent spectrum. Now, wherever on the left, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But way on the left, that's what we're talking about here. These videos, talking about the highest intent peeps, people searching for boudoir photo shoots right now in our, right in our city, searching on social media, searching on Google, and wherever on the left, the lowest intent people. That's our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a unique niched problem. And we actually, with that brand, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So now onward. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1 of Google, that means we're on page, page 2 or deeper. That's gonna be a fast death for our business because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. And so if we're stuck on page 0, that's a fast track to death. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's not good enough either, because then we're looking the same as all the other boudoir photographers. Probably going to be none other boudoir photographers. So buyers are just going to click and open up everybody's link, get a quote from everyone, price shop everyone. Whereas 80% of those buyers, the bulk that we care about, will never even go to page 2. So even on page 1, we're still getting super, super, super price shopped. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 in Google is not normal. It's just an extremely small number. It's normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google, extremely, extremely, extremely common though. People are accepting of it being common because people do not know about the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, the market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Someone's getting a new iPhone, they're throwing up on Google My Business profile on Google Maps. They got their website up, trying to rank page 1 for boudoir photographer. And so more supply. Same with someone's getting a new camera, and then they're talking, they're posting in the mom Facebook groups saying that, saying they offer boudoir shoots now as well. Again, another increase in supply. And COVID was a big, massive supply shock of boudoir photographers because a lot of people lost their jobs. People still need to earn money though. Everyone's got a phone with basically everyone's got a phone with a superpowered camera. So offering boudoir photo shoots even for new peeps was, kind of an easy in. And as a result, super increased the supply of boudoir photographers. And if the same number of buyers remained, then, then it's going to be harder and harder for sellers to make the same amount of money. Now, false belief of page 1 equality, this, from what I've seen, is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. What this is boudoir photographers saying, all right, I got 1 slot on page 1 here on my website, and some other boudoir photographers came in, entered the marketplace, got their website ranked higher than mine. So, pushing me down to page 2, but that's simply how it is. Hopefully one of them deletes their websites and maybe Google will put me back on page 1. Because right now I'm invisible on page 2. Approximately 80% of searchers never even get to me. And, just kind of letting those things happen. That's a false belief. Google actually will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want, as we put in the effort to acquire. And Google wants to give us those slots. I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days with this new methodology I developed. Now, final piece here on the left side, a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. So left side of our universe, disappearing boudoir photographer. Well, that's because, if we got BSS, we're either 0 or 1 slot on page 1. So basically, we're either on page 2 of Google which means we're definitely disappearing. Approximately 80% of searches never even get to page 2. And if we're on page 1, then and we only got one slot, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're being price shopped to death, and we're actually, disappearing as well. And so, a disappearing boudoir photographer having BSS. This is the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning flag, the warning light, check engine light going on, saying, "Hey, we are on a path now to actually lose for the boudoir photography business itself to disappear." But luckily, we now have a solution. That solution, we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And when we we invented this, so that's how I know it works. It's exactly what the name is, social search saturation. We're saturating social search. And for the highest intent keywords. And basically, it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. When we saturate social search, there's like the small streams, the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. They actually flow into the Amazon River. And with the Amazon River, what actually happens is they all converge to the Amazon River. That's like conversion on page 1 of Google. Now, this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually allows them to overcome market saturation extremely quickly. The only one other option would be, actually having a well-known brand. That takes, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI is here, coming to take people's jobs, and we got to max rank as fast as possible, as there's a whole bunch of boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. So, SQ methodology, yeah, it is the only thing I've seen for boudoir photographers that successfully enables them to fight back and overcome market saturation. I mean, imagine if there's a million boudoir photographers in San Francisco, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website competing to be page 1 on Google. And what actually happens is we max out our S-cubed methodology, literally basically do it as max as possible. And as a result, we're getting like the first 300 slots on social search, first 300 slots on Google search. And when we do that, whenever any buyer searches for Google or, on Google or social search, high intent keywords for boudoir photo shoot in their city, we're basically the only one they find for the first 300 slots. And, we essentially pushed all the competition down to slots 301 or later. So on Google, it's 10 organic slots per page. And 10 organic slots per page is, that's 30 pages we're taking up. Buyers essentially got to go to page 31 to even find out that we are, to find out our competitors. So obviously, whose business is growing in this scenario? Ours, because we saturated basically kind of everywhere they can look. So again, this SQ methodology is the only solution I've seen that allows boudoir photographers to successfully escape markets or successfully grow in spite of market saturation, kind of no matter how many boudoir photographers are out there. That happens relatively quickly. Brand, dude, takes like 5 to 10 years. So we ain't got no time to build brand right now. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And kind of an initial bonus benefit we get from this is every new slot we take on page 1 of Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So when we do that, when we make them invisible, we know that literally 80% of boudoir photographers or searchers do literally never go to page 2. So if we kick them onto page 2, off page 1, on page 2 deeper, they're effectively invisible to approximately 80% of the market. So that's an extra immediate benefit. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So when we get that, we have the GBC recommended minimum of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google search page 1. Because at 3 out of 10 slots, a lot of boudoir photographers, most of them will be at 1 out of 10. So when the buyer's scrolling down Google and they're seeing us with a massive number of boudoir photo shoots, or basically kind of with our option, then what actually happens is we're going to be seen as like super awesome solution. People are going to be wondering, why Google is recommending us 3 different times and everyone else only once. So that's why we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum is 3. And as we actually increase, some boudoir photographers rarely will actually have two slots on page 1. So we actually want to hit those. And, when we hit those, we want to, or when they hit those, our 3 out of 10 slots will actually still overpower them. So it's essentially taking care of all scenarios. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe here. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. We finally have a solution, thankfully. S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now here are my results from using S-cubed methodology when I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So basically I wanted to rank for this keyword. So I already know, use S-cubed methodology. So we got me, organic slot Instagram here. Organic slot page 1. Organic slot page 2. Organic slot page 3. Slot 4. I mean, not page 1, page 2. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4. Then we got slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So we literally got slot 10, or we got 9 out of 10 slots, and we achieved this with only 10 days utilizing our S-cubed methodology. So these are my results I've gotten for it. So now to the main course here. We want to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness for these 2 Google searches. So all right, we're going back here. So first we're looking at boudoir photographer in Middletown, Delaware. So let's see. So I'm going to go to the organics. So here we go. Boom, they got 1. Boom, they got 2. Boom, they got 3. Boom, they got 4. I believe this, he has them as well. Yep, boom, they got 5. And, okay, I believe this is them as well. They got 6. Boom, they got 7. I don't think that's, hold on, did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's sponsored. They got 5. They got 6. They got 7. They got 8. They do not have 9. They got 10. All right, so this is what we want to shoot for. Well, we want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, but we got 9 out of 10 here. This is perfect. Someone searching this, who are they going with? Who are they going with? There's only 2 options in the organic searches. And I got, number 9 here, Elevate Creative Studio. So this is perfect. Wonder how much more work we need to do to get a 10 out of 10. But all right, so we definitely do not have BSS for this one. So we don't have BSS for that. Let's see the larger city though. So local, 9 out of 10, fantastic. We do not have BSS. Now we're going for kind of the largest city nearby. So that'd be Wilmington, Delaware. All right, so let's see. Boom, we got 1. So we got 1. We got 1 out of 10, dude. We got BSS. We got BSS for the city. For the city search. So we got local search and city search we look at. We definitely got BSS. Here we got 1 out of 10. And this is exactly what S-cubed methodology was built to solve. So going back. So first search does not have BSS. First search was amazing, 9 out of 10. Second search, we got 1 out of 10. We got BSS. We got 0, 1 slots on page 1 of Google. We got to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. That's our goal. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done a local search for yourself, high intent keyword, as a buyer, saying you got BSS there, or you've done it at the city search, you may have BSS there, or you've seen for either of those, you're not meeting the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is finally your one way to solve that. Then, you also taking into account the false belief of page one inequality. Yeah, it's false. That Google wants to give us as many page one slots as we want to take and want to put in the effort to acquire. So S-cube methodology is the path forward. And you understand market saturation, the two prongs. People get new iPhones, people getting new cameras, and you like the initial benefits of S-cube methodology, get more slots on page one, and also kicking competitors off page one, so you're on page two where you're basically never going to be price shopped against them. And you're liking all that. And with regards to market saturation, you're looking at, you've seen AI, it's going to be taking more and more people's jobs. And as that happens, you know more and more boudoir photographers are actually going to come flooding into the market. And as more and more boudoir photographers flood into the market, they're actually going to, increase the supply. And as we increase the supply of boudoir photographers, we're going to be, harder to compete. Page one, lowering the basically more supply, lower demand of page one, and as a result, you realize you got to kind of fortify page one against a new future big rush of boudoir photographers. So as you're doing that, well, you're seeing, okay, executed methodology is the only thing available to do that as well. And so you're liking all that. And you're also understanding that when we do executed methodology, we're actually kind of building kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns. And as we build these invisible thematic keyword columns, what's happening is they're kind of like, columns of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or kind of like, hub and spoke kind of spokes attached, to our business hub. And what actually happens is we're increasing the mind share, the back end, the kind of the AI mind share. And every day we successfully do, we're going to higher and higher probability that we're going to rank here in the AI overview on Google. And we're also increasing the probability that we get recommended AI search as well. So this AI overview is really a, basically a kind of a premium placement. But AI search, dude, AI search is awesome as well because more and more people are using AI search every single day. And so this kind of invisible momentum building up in the background, and you recognize, man, this will also help you build a brand approximately 8x faster. Kind of all these benefits combined, kind of we're just showing up way more in everyone over time. And you're recognizing that it's better to, you decided you want to be a first mover on this because if you actually hop into this with your, and you exclude all your competitors from using this, because my plan is to only work with this with one boudoir photographer in a city, then what actually happens is you're building up all this initial benefits and future benefits of making massive strides, massive progress against your competitors, kind of putting a big gap between you and them. As you put a big gap between you and them, it becomes harder and harder for them to ever catch up. And conversely, if someone else, some other competitor in your city came with you first, or came with me first, and we're able to build a massive gap on you, get all those initial benefits, what actually happens is you'd have to rederive execute methodology on your own. You would not know if you've successfully rederived it 100% correctly or not. So then you'd actually have to go and run execute methodology on your own and match our output to then kind of maintain the gap between your competitor and you. And you would have to, you'd actually have to then actually exceed our output to kind of catch us and close that gap. So you decide, screw that. You'd rather be you decide you're going to be the first mover and not have to deal with kind of someone overtaking your spots. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when we do open slots for new patients in the future, yeah, shoot a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.